AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Hey, Will.
Hey, bud.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You, so. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. We're here, glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. David DeLucci in 1 hour. So last week, LSU football social media released photos of Lane Kiffin posing for photos that were going to go along with his Vanity Fair feature. Well, that Vanity Fair feature was released here on Monday. And it's a long personality profile of Lane Kiffin. The headline it's by Chris Smith. That's him in the spotlight, how Lane Kiffin eagerly became the most polarizing coach in college football. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I've read this. It's a long read. It's a 15, 20-minute read. And there's not a lot of new. It's Kiffin gave up alcohol, which he said was, affecting his career and his marriage. He divorced and is reconciled with his wife. He was the product of a vagabond childhood where they moved 8 times before he was 20 years old or whatever it was, because his dad was a coach. He has had a lot of messy departures. Raiders at 31 years old, leaving Tennessee after 1 year, fired on the tarmac at Southern Cal. It's all stuff we know. Like I don't know that we learned anything new about Lane Kiffin. His mom did nickname him Helicopter when he was young, because he would go in a room, create chaos, and leave. Sounds on brand, right? So I just don't know that there was anything in here that made me go, I didn't know that about Lane. That's really interesting. There was one quote. They quoted Paul Feinbaum in this, about not really knowing if Kiffin's genuine. The Chris Smith, the author of the piece, wrote, "After 4 hours of talking with Kiffin, I'm stumped. Is he endearingly sincere or so full of poop that it's an art form?" Paul Feinbaum said, quote, "I first met Lane in 2009, and I can't decide either. Lane Kiffin is an introvert, and he's a drama queen. He's sincere, and he doesn't get enough credit for his acting ability. It's what makes him fascinating, and it's what makes him the most polarizing coach in college football." None of that is getting anybody's attention, though, throughout this. There's 2 quotes attributed to Lane Kiffin that, however, are the things that have gotten the most amount of attention and have drawn the ire of Ole Miss fans here today after reading this. One is where Kiffin talked about the impact of recruiting of having been at Ole Miss. He notes that he was drawn to LSU because it could pump what he calls, quote, adult money into the football program, talking about the roster spend and all that stuff. And he also, I'm going to read this directly, so there's no misconstruing what was written, because this is something that's getting a lot of people up in arms. Kiffin also, I'm reading directly here from the piece. Kiffin also seems willing to indirectly invoke Ole Miss's struggles to distance itself from symbols like the Confederate flag, Colonel Rebel, and the nickname Ole Miss itself. When he was coaching there, Kiffin says top recruits would tell him, quote, "Hey, coach, we really like you, but my grandparents aren't letting me move to Oxford, Mississippi. That doesn't come up when you say Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Parents were sitting here this weekend saying the campus's diversity feels so great. It feels like there's no segregation, and we want that for our kid because that's the real world." End quote. Parenthetically, he writes, the next day Kiffin added, quote, "I just hope my comments come across as respectful to Ole Miss. There's some things that I'm saying that are factual. They're not shots." End quote. Goes on to note, the population of Baton Rouge is 51% black, 36% white. Oxford is 66% white, 26% black. That's the entire context. Now, what a lot of people are saying is bringing up rebel flags, Colonel Reb, segregation, all that stuff. What I think is important to note, Lane Kiffin didn't say any of those things. I'm not here defending Lane Kiffin. What I am defending is accuracy. Now, we do not know the context in which Lane Kiffin made those comments. Was he asked about diversity or race? Was he asked about how that might have influenced recruiting? Did he just volunteer this unprovoked? We don't know. It's one of the reasons why long-form podcasts, long-form video, things like the Players Tribune, where someone can write their own text and it's not subject to an editor or chopping blocks, those things are very popular now, because I don't know how in the conversation that Christopher Smith had with Lane Kiffin that came up. We, the reader, don't know that. But what he's saying there is there were recruits that sometimes their parents, grandparents had an issue with Oxford. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not going to take a shot at Oxford, Mississippi. The hard part, I think, sometimes for you and me or anybody who's a fan of a school, when talking about another school or that town or city, whatever, that's hard, is to remove whatever emotion you have about that's associated with the school and related to the place. Let me say it another way. It's hard for me to tell you, let's talk about Oxford, Mississippi, without considering how you feel about Ole Miss, the athletic department, right? But if you just think about Oxford, Mississippi, it's a beautiful place. It is a beautiful town in North Mississippi. It is clean. They have a low crime rate. They have great schools, very nice people. Like, if you're raising a family and you want sort of like a small town, Oxford's beautiful. If you've been, you understand exactly what I'm saying. Now, you go to the game and you got 10-year-olds flipping you off and stuff in the Grove because you're LSU and it's go to hell LSU and all that. Like, maybe you feel in a different way, but I'm just talking about remove, if you can, your fandom and just think about Oxford as a place to live. Very nice place to live. There's also 20,000 people. And so if you're Lane Kiffin, and to finish the point, though, about the diversity piece, I guess that didn't resonate or didn't really move me because I feel like every SEC town has dealt with some iteration of that conversation. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think it matters if you're LSU or Ole Miss or Mississippi State or Alabama or Auburn or Florida or Georgia or Tennessee. Like, every SEC school at some point in their history has had to deal with that conversation, that as an objection. No one is immune from that conversation. Like, we talk about here, Collis Temple Jr. broke the color barrier at LSU. He was the first black scholarship athlete. It's something that we celebrate here, a guy like Collis in that very a transformational moment. Well, every SEC school has that, right? Has that moment, that athlete, that's celebrated and should be. We celebrate Sylvester Croom for becoming the first black head football coach at an SEC school. Like, all those things should be recognized and celebrated, but it also speaks to a part of our nation's history. So I guess because that's just a very normal conversation that all of us living here have had at some point, that didn't move me really one way or another. I remember there was a time where LSU had like the purple, remember the purple and gold rebel, like Confederate flag? Or I don't know what you call it, but whatever. Like, that was a thing that became a hot button issue years ago, and they don't sell it anymore. And okay, like, I guess my point is we've all been subject to that conversation one way or another. And Lane Kiffin saying that in this article, I don't think is painting with a broad brush. I think what you're looking at is no matter what school, you could always have a recruit or a few that give certain objections like that. I'm sure there's people who don't like Baton Rouge and would say the same. So I guess that part of it was just didn't move me. I think the truth about a part of the conversation about Lane Kiffin leaving Oxford and coming to Baton Rouge is where he is in his life. Listen, I want to stay on time. Let me break really quickly. I want to come back and I want to pick that up because I think this is a part that shouldn't be lost. And there was another, by the way, there was a second quote in this piece that Lane Kiffin had that has kind of upset a lot of Ole Miss fans. So I'll pick up with that when we come back. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Hey, Renaissance Baton Rouge, awesome spot. Right there on Bluebonnet, near I-10, across from the Mall of Louisiana and Perkins Row. And so excited because a couple of weeks ago, I got to go meet Chef Reed, the new executive chef there at Tallulah inside of Renaissance Baton Rouge. And they've rolled out a totally new menu at Tallulah. I've explained Tallulah for years to you. It's a casual, upscale dining experience. This isn't just like a hotel restaurant. There's a lot of like locals, like Baton Rouge people who you're going out for a night, you know, a romantic date, or you need to entertain some clients for lunch or dinner. They'll go to Tallulah, even if you're not staying at Renaissance Baton Rouge. It's a great restaurant. So get your reservations at Tallulah or pop in for a business lunch any day and check out the new menu that Chef Reed has curated. It's awesome. You'll love it. Find your new favorite item tonight over at Tallulah Baton Rouge inside of the Renaissance Hotel. If you're looking for work, River Parish Contractors is looking for you. Call Big Jake at River Parish Contractors. I'm going to give you the number here in just a quick second. Again, call Big Jake at River Parish Contractors, or you can log on to rpcontractors.com. Remember, maybe you got a great job right now, but the place you work doesn't want you to work overtime. You don't have to worry about that with River Parish Contractors. All the overtime you want to work, come on down. They got it for you. You want to work night shifts when it's cooler? You can do that at River Parish Contractors. They have an incredible benefits plan as well. And man, at River Parish Contractors right now, they are hiring for so many different positions: pipe fitters, boiler makers, crane operators, pipe cutters, welders. Call Big Jake at 318-547-1000, 318-547-1000. Be home with your family every night. 318-547-1000.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
All right, glad you're with us here. We always appreciate Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. We're talking about the Vanity Fair piece, the Lane Kiffin feature that's out. You're just joining us. We opened up the hour kind of reacting to the one piece, the quote about some of the recruiting hurdles that Lane Kiffin says he faced when there were some players who said, "We like you, coach, but my parents, grandparents won't let me move to Oxford, Mississippi," insinuating the racial undertones. Although I do think it's important, as we've said, just inaccuracy. This isn't like just staunchly defending Lane Kiffin. For all the people that have talked about Colonel Reb and the rebel flag and all that, like, Lane Kiffin did not say that. He did not say those words at all in this interview. So that's an important, I think, a very important piece. But where we left it was talking about like Oxford being like objectively a very nice place to raise a family. I think when you look at Lane Kiffin, when he got to Oxford, Mississippi 6 years ago, He had young children. And at that point, that's a great place to raise young children. But at 51 years old now, Lane is a single man who has his two oldest children are in college. We know Landry's now was at Ole Miss, but now is at I think she's actually finishing Ole Miss, but has a place in Baton Rouge. She's dating Witt. I think we know that. Their middle child, Presley, is a volleyball player in California at USC. And then Knox, we know, is going to be a junior at the lab school. I don't know about y'all, but like when I was a junior in high school, I wasn't aching to spend all my free time with my parents. Right? Like this is part of life that everyone deals with. If you're a parent and you think to when your children got to college or maybe late high school, they stop spending their free time with you. They want to be with their friends. So your social life no longer revolves around your kids, shuttling them to and from school, athletic events, extracurriculars, maybe hanging out with your kids, friends, parents. Like life changes. And so if you're Lane Kiffin and you're 51 and you're divorced and single and your children are older and grown and doing their own thing, and you live in a town of 20,000 people where you can't go anywhere without being recognized, is that the life you want? Is that the lifestyle you want? It becomes not just singularly about football. I'm not sitting here trying to suggest that Baton Rouge is Manhattan. But Baton Rouge, compared to Oxford, is a very different way of life. New Orleans is an hour down the road. Baton Rouge has places that Lane frequents, as we all know from his Instagram stories, like Supper Club and Colonel's Club, and he goes to the different coffee bars that he posts photos from all the time. Like, there's a lot of things socially to do in Baton Rouge that's 5 times, actually more than 5 times, 15 times Greater Baton Rouge, the size of Oxford. It's a very different lifestyle. And what at this point in his life that he decided he wanted, in addition to all the other things. And this is the other quote that got a lot of Ole Miss fans upset. The piece finishes with talking about going back to Oxford for the game in September, which we all know is going to be a whole scene. And this is the final graph of the story here in Vanity Fair. I'll read the whole paragraph so as not to miss anything. It's just like 2 sentences. But Kiffin closes his eyes and pictures walking back onto the field he called home for 6 seasons. Quote, "I don't know if I should make this analogy," he says, but of course he does because he can't resist throwing a little more fuel on the fire. Quote, "The fans are like, it's a breakup, and he goes to the girl we know, who's considered by everyone outside the state to be a better girl. Now you're going back to like a big family reunion with a new girl." End quote. "The spectacle will be great for TV ratings. The Lane Kiffin show is never dull." He effectively says he broke up with the girl and now is going to the family reunion with a better girl. No matter who you are, that's never going to sit well. If you've ever been broken up with or gone through anything like that, that's a very relatable analogy that he's drawing. And the author, Chris Smith, is right to say Kiffin thinks about if he should make the analogy, but of course he does because he's Kiffin and he's always going to kick the anthill. But there's also an objective truth to that. Like, forget about if you think Ole Miss is on par with LSU, think LSU is better, or the result of this year's football game. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, let's deal with objective truths. Objectively, LSU has 4 football national titles, 3 since 2003. Ole Miss does not. Ole Miss hasn't won a conference title in 6 decades. Ole Miss has a football stadium that after expansion holds 55, 60,000 people. LSU Stadium holds 102,000 people. You want to talk about objective numbers like budgets or valuation? If you look at the valuations that were recently came up for like putting a valuation on the athletic department, In the SEC, Texas is number one at $2.38 billion. Georgia's next, followed by Bama, Oklahoma, Tennessee. LSU is 6 with a valuation of $1.23 billion. $1.23 billion. Ole Miss, $591 million. LSU's valuation is double Ole Miss's. So, this isn't shade. It's just the reality. The two have different levels of resource and historical success and all the things that make LSU a better job than Ole Miss. I'm not even telling you subjective opinion. Objective fact based on money, revenue, resources, history, all of it, LSU far outweighs Ole Miss, which is why Lane Kiffin took this job at the time he did in his life when it made sense for him to move to a place that's bigger with more resources and all of that sort of stuff. I'm not saying it makes it any easier for Ole Miss fans to cope with emotionally. I mean, someone they loved, someone that, despite what they all say, they love to throw shade at him now, someone they loved, who they thought loved them back, left them for someone they consider a rival. That stings. There's no way around it. That sucks. And they'll never get over that. And now they got to face him every year, and it's only going to further breed the hatred and the venom that's all going to come out. And when Lane goes and says things like that, it's only going to kick that anthill even more. But he's achieving the end he wants, which is attention. Lane has said this so many times that he is so active on social media because it's a way that recruits and their families feel like they know him. He goes and sits in living rooms, and recruits parents like, I feel like I know you, because they follow him on social and they see him out there. He is a celebrity coach, which makes him a really interesting character because that is not what he is like in real life, at least not my experience. Limited experience. For a guy that is gregarious and bombastic and a troll, and so public on social media, he is not that in person. He is more introverted and a little to himself and soft-spoken. I mean, we see him in front of a microphone. We're in the press conference, and he's almost whispering. They have to turn the volume of if you weren't listening on the speakers, you sitting 10 feet from him, you couldn't hear him. He's speaking so lowly. So, last Thursday, Our Lady of the Lake had their Big Bash, which is a gigantic fundraiser for the foundation. And as we've talked about, Our Lady of the Lake is the single biggest booster of LSU athletics. It's a gigantic event for the lake. And that's the type of event you would think. Look, Will Wade was at Charles Harvey's table and was there the whole night. He was one of the first people there, was there the whole night. Shook hands, took pictures, everything. I didn't see Lane Kiffin. You would think that's an opportunity for him to be front and center and shake hands and meet people and be visible. I saw on social media a photo he took with EJ Kuiper from FMOL. But I didn't see Lane there. Apparently he came briefly. But all that to say, I don't think he wants to be there in that big environment. I think he's more comfortable being in a smaller, sort of to himself space. It just shows the contrast or the contradiction of what Lane is like publicly or on social media and what he is actually like. And I think the comments that the author of this piece, Christopher Smith, said, they quoted Feinbaum, who effectively said the same thing. I think it illustrates that. But I don't think we learned anything new about Lane Kiffin. And no matter what Lane Kiffin ever says about Ole Miss, it is always going to draw the ire of Ole Miss fans. And that's just going to be part of this reality with Kiffin and Ole Miss because of their now fractured relationship forever. That is irreparable. They'll never get back together. Maybe at some point in their future, they might honor those teams. It's hard to think about this in these terms because it was 60 years ago. But, Paul Dietzel won the first national championship at LSU in 1958. He left for Army. And I'm sure that was a very bitter breakup at the time. He left for what was a better job. And he ended up not working out there, went to South Carolina, ended up coaching against LSU at South Carolina in a game he oddly scheduled when he was the athletic director. But then spent the balance of his life in Baton Rouge and became a beloved figure. Bygones became bygones. I'm going to be fascinated to see what happens with Nick Saban, who is the greatest coach that's ever coached in the sport, led LSU to its first national title in 45 years, left for the NFL, which everyone understood, but became very bitter when he came back into the SEC at Alabama and ended up kicking LSU's ass for a decade and a half. But eventually, we're going to honor that 2003 national championship team, and they're going to bring Nick Saban back on the field, and he's going to be applauded because he's no longer a threat. Maybe that day will come in Oxford where they'll recognize the 6 years, the playoff berth, and all the stuff that Lane Kiffin did there. Maybe. It's not going to be anytime soon, though, that would happen. And the more Lane makes comments like this, the more that fracture grows. Whereas Nick Saban, throughout all the years he was at Alabama, only praised LSU and his time in Baton Rouge and talked about the friends he had here and how much he loved it. And honestly, he's one of the reasons that Lane is the coach here now, because we know that he consulted Lane and told him to take the LSU job instead of Florida. So there's so many interesting variables at play here. But the thing that's getting all the attention today is the racial component of what's being perceived. But I think the most important thing to come away from that is to know that Lane Kiffin didn't use the word Confederate flag or rebel flag or Colonel Reb or any of that stuff. Those are the things that are being implied, and I don't like revisionist history. We have quotes from Lane Kiffin where he told what I guess we should believe to be a true story that he had in some interactions with recruits that he thinks would be different in Baton Rouge. And maybe it will be, and maybe it won't be. But that's part of the conversation that living in the South is a part of this region in our country's history. And it's a thing that does get brought up, which is maybe why I'm a little immune to it reading it in the Vanity Fair piece today. Not to say it's insignificant. It's just to say there are people who are going to bring that up always. And I don't think that's new for Ole Miss or LSU or Alabama or Florida or Kentucky or Tennessee or South Carolina. People who want to make that statement will, and you choose to interpret it how you want. I don't think it speaks to the type of place that Oxford is, a place to live, or what it was for Lane Kiffin and for his family. I just think he realized he had a better opportunity, a good time in his life to move, and so he moved, which is what coaches do. Now, all that to say, if he doesn't win at LSU, they can run his ass out of here too. So you better go win. All right, it's after further review. If you want to react, feel free. You can always email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. We are brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020. You want to see 2020, call the Williamson Eye Center at 924-2020. No matter your age or refractive issue, maybe you're nearsighted like me. Man, it's been, September will be 8 years since I had LASIK. Wish I'd done it 8 years prior. Don't let that be you. Don't waste time shoving contacts in your eyes or reaching for your glasses or having outdated prescriptions. Man, just go to see Dr. Blake Williamson. Schedule that consultation and change your life. The Williamson Eye Center can make it happen. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. We're glad you're rolling along with us. We're about halfway home on this Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. Let me knock out a quick break. I did get some questions about Nate Yeskie, the LSU Baseball Tigers. Of course, we'll get to that. David DeLucci's here in about 30 minutes from right now. Kellen Moore also spoke after Saints rookie minicamp. I want to dive into that. We've got a ton to do, and glad you're hanging out with us here on this Monday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Peptides are all the rage, man. Let's listen to this radio station. Seems like every other ad, somebody endorsing peptides. What I can tell you is I actually take peptides and have for a while. And I get my peptides at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Hey, Matt, I thought they were an ED clinic. Yes, they do ED treatments. But they do so much more than just ED. Hormone replacement therapy, and yes, peptides. Peptides are strains of amino acids, and they're designed to help maximize your body's natural function of a certain thing. So you want to clear brain fog, you want to sleep better at night, you want to build muscle, you want to burn fat, you want to reinvigorate your libido, you want to heal better, muscle recovery, heal better after surgery or things like that. There are peptides that can help. Goodwood has the lowest prices, never any contracts, and tons of knowledge. Highly recommend you check them out. yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And oh, we do shutters too.
Spring is here, and that means it's time for a little cha-ching. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust are giving you the chance to win $5,000 cash with the Spring Cha-Ching Sweepstakes. Head to 1045ESPN.com and get registered today for your chance to win $5K. It's quick, it's easy, and someone is going to walk away with serious spending money. Spring Cha-Ching Sweepstakes presented by Citizens Bank and Trust and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Austin on the text line said, what's your opinion of Nate Yeskie? Just read his bio, man. Gone to the College World Series 6 times, 2 national titles, only active coach in Division I to have gone to a College World Series with 4 different programs, 16 regional appearances, 7 supers. He's had 2 National Pitcher of the Years, 2 College World Series Most Outstanding Players. Baseball America pulled 70 Division I head coaches. He was named a top assistant in college baseball. I think Nate Yeskie's pretty great. And he's got a long history, a long resume illustrating such. It is entirely possible that a really good coach has a bad year. And I think that's what this was. Is not completely over yet. They still got 3 games, and then whatever they do in the SEC tournament. I think what happened this year is a combination of a lot of circumstance that was bad. Some of it is certainly on the coaching staff, some of it's on the players, some of it is bad luck. You know, you have to give Nate Yeskie credit for developing Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson. Like, you can't criticize today what's happened without also giving credit for what happened with Anderson and Ianson. And also Chase Shores and Paul Skeens. Well, I guess, no, forgive me, Paul Skeens was Wes Johnson. You can't get around giving credit where it's due, okay? If you're going to, say it often. If you're going to criticize, okay, criticize when warranted, but you have to give credit where it's due. And Yeskie has a long history of great success as a pitching coach. Now, is it disappointing this year that Casey Evans didn't become a guy that got you deep into games, like a front of the rotation Friday night ace like you had with Anderson? I don't even want to mention Skeens because it feels like that's just on a different planet. But Alex Lang, go through the years. Luke Holman was a really good Friday night pitcher for you. You didn't have that this year. Is it unfortunate that Cooper Williams and Maverick Rizzi didn't take the step in year 2 we thought they would? William Schmidt can be thrown into that mix as well. Schmidt was better this year than he was last year, but we know he passed on a 7-figure contract coming out of high school, and we saw Anderson, Louisiana kid, mostly a midweek guy as a freshman, then boom, as a sophomore, front of the rotation, stud, 3rd pick of the draft. We tried to draw the parallels. I did it too. We tried to draw the parallels of Anderson to Schmidt, and it just didn't go that way this year for Schmidt. I think he's better, but not maybe as good. The walks this year were egregious. How much of that was maybe, we talked about this a few weeks ago with Todd Walker, when you're talking about pitch calling. You get into a 2-ball count, 3-ball count. You keep going off speed. Why? Maybe because you don't want to serve up a gopher ball over the heart of the plate and let your opponent hit it against a defense that doesn't, for much of the season, regularly back up their pitchers with great defense. I think a lot of that just caused LSU this year to break tendencies and trends. I would have loved to have seen Maverick Rizzi, Cooper Williams, William Schmidt all perform better than they did this year. Didn't happen. And then I think there's also circumstance. Like, Evans being scratched 20 minutes before the opener against Mississippi State sucked. If Kason Evans gives you one inning against Mississippi State and all else is equal, you win at least one game in that series. I mean, that's unfortunate. Cooper Moore was your number 2. So for a chunk of this season, you didn't have, and by the way, he was one of the few guys that actually consistently threw strikes. So you lose your top 2 guys, everybody moves up 2 chairs. Now, your Sunday guy is your Friday guy. Your Tuesday guy, if you have one, is your Saturday guy. You don't have a Sunday guy. Guys that are the back of the bullpen that probably aren't going to typically pitch on a SEC weekend now are pitching on SEC weekends. Like, that's the product of the bad luck circumstance with injuries. So it's a combination of a lot of things, man. I don't lay this at the feet of Nate Yeskie saying, get him out of here. Let's throw the baby out with the bathwater, man. I think that's just foolish given his track record of success throughout his career. I think he's a great pitching coach. Not just, I mean, look, I just read all the accolades for you. This is a terrible year. It's a terrible year. It could very well go down as the most losses that LSU's had in conference. This is the first time since the 75-76 school year that football, men's basketball, and baseball will all finish with a losing record in conference. This is just a miserable year. There's no other way to say it. It's the worst year collectively in my lifetime. So that sucks. Do you blow the whole thing up? I don't think so. I think you look at what you can do to refine and be better for it. And that's going to be certainly some members of this team not being back next year. Continuing the development of guys on this roster. And then, yes, going to the portal and your high school class and bringing in a bunch of talented new players to figure out how they all fit together for next year. I'm with you. Like, this is completely unacceptable. It's LSU baseball. I mean, you're expected to play in not just make regionals. You're expected to make it to Omaha every year. Not making the tournament is completely indefensible. That's like Kentucky not making the NCAA basketball tournament. I'm not saying you're going to win a national championship every year, but the expectation is like, it's not even fathomable. Every March, your name is going to be called. Like, you're going to pop up on Selection Sunday. Every Memorial Day, LSU baseball is supposed to be hosting a regional. Are you a top 8 national seed? That varies now just because it's really hard to do that. But, like, you should be playing postseason baseball at the box every year. You should be a top 16. That's inarguable. Every year. That should be a baseline expectation for this program. To not make the field it's indefensible. I can explain it. It doesn't mean I got to defend the process or the outcome. So, but no, I don't think that means you fire the staff and you throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think you trust Jay Johnson to learn from the mistakes of this year and to get it right. All right, brought to you by Evermore, EVAMOR, evermore.com. Remember to stay hydrated, y'all. As it gets warmer outside, you're out in the yard, sweating, you're losing water. Make sure you drink Evermore, a Louisiana product, natural artesian water, healthier alternative for your kiddos, for your family, for elite-level athletes, right out of the natural well on the North Shore Lake Pontchartrain, piped right into the bottling facility there in Covington. If you haven't been, you turn into the Evermore facility. The well is right there when you turn through the gates to go into the facility. I've had the pleasure to walk through the bottling plant's incredible operation they have there. And again, you're supporting a great Louisiana business and buying a Louisiana product when you buy Evermore. They have national distribution, so even if you're listening or watching outside of Louisiana, check the store locator at the website. Go to evermore.com, EVAMOR, evermore.com. Hit the menu. You'll see Find a Store, punch in your zip code, and then boom, it'll pop up the nearest store to you. Evermore.com, EVAMOR, and send me your pictures on social. A lot of y'all do that a lot. When you see Evermore in the wallet, you're drinking it, you tweet me, Facebook, Instagram, text me. The folks at Evermore love it when you do that, so we appreciate everyone who does. EVAMOR, evermore.com. All right, y'all, David DeLucci's here in 15 minutes. We'll get Luch's thoughts on the LSU baseball team, the season, and we'll sort of look ahead to the conference tournament. With the Florida series this weekend, the conference tournament next week. So Luch is here in about 15 minutes from right now. We're going to do Tigers and the Pros when we come back. Still got to recap Saints rookie minicamp. Kellen Moore met with reporters. Yesterday was 1 year to the day of Derek Carr's retirement. It's an interesting opportunity to look back at how fundamentally the Saints organization has changed in the 366 days now since Derek Carr's retirement. We'll dive into all that. Glad you're hanging out with us here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Rev Fiber. REV, revfiber.com, revfiber.com. Had a coworker who, with all the storms on Saturday, they had a tree branch fall on the power line by their house, knocked out power, internet, everything. And unfortunate that sucks, obviously, when that happens. But my thought was, I don't have to worry about that because we have Rev Fiber at the Moscona household, at Parish Construction and Roofing, here at Guarantee Media as well. Remember, Rev Fiber, the fiber is buried under the ground, so you don't have to worry about storm and the tree branch falling on the cable line and knocking it out. So you want high-speed internet, up to 5 gigs, faster internet, more reliable internet at a better cost. You want Rev Fiber. Help your home and your business run more efficiently. They also do security, home automation, cable phone, all of it. Rev Fiber. REV, revfiber.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Thanks, as always, to Brandon and Adrian Holly. Awesome people over at Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades make your home more energy efficient. Increase your home's resale value. Beautify the exterior. It's Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Saints had rookie minicamp over the weekend, Friday, Saturday. Ross Jackson was with us in hour 1. If you missed that recap, you can get it on-demand podcast or YouTube. The big note, obviously, was that Jordan Tyson missed day 2. It was planned as they continue to get him back from the hamstring injury. But also interesting, we got to see Will Clapp out there. Remember, he's taken over for Jari Evans, who's now in Pittsburgh on Mike McCarthy's staff as a full-time staff member there. So Clapp takes that role with the Saints. And Kellen Moore talked about what Will Clapp is adding to the staff.
Will's awesome. I've been fortunate. I was with him in L.A., then last year, obviously, having him here, I think what was a great opportunity, a blessing in disguise. Obviously, he got hurt, and that's a challenge. But we kind of got to see him in a different lens. And the way he kind of started mentoring guys last year and putting himself in a little bit more of a coaching approach to the week, I thought was really beneficial. And so when Jari had the opportunity to go to Pittsburgh, we were excited for Jari, but we obviously had to make a decision, and it was a really simple decision at that point. I mean, Will knows this thing inside and out. He's played at a really high level for a number of years in this league. And so his communication with these guys, I think, is going to be excellent.
Will's going to be a great coach if that's the path that he decides he wants to follow after this, but keeps him close to the game, and I love that addition. All right, it is After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
NBA playoffs, Western Conference semifinals, Game 4, Timberwolves, Spurs. It was the T-Wolves that got the dub. Nas Reed.
Should have stayed.
He's been awesome in this series, man. 15 points off the bench, 9 rebounds. That's the 3rd straight near-miss double-double for Nas Reed. That came in 31 minutes. He shot 50% from the floor a night ago. Also took a wicked elbow.
You're burying the lead.
Straight to the jaw from Victor Wembanyama. Resulted in Wemby's ejection from the game. Nas Reed was asked about it after and said, pain is just weakness leaving the body. So you love that quote. And he was fantastic once again. Filthy elbow there, man. That looked like a square shot. Just caught him square. Major League Baseball, Alex Lang got to face his former team a night ago. Royals hosted the Pirates. It was an inning and 2/3 shutout baseball from Lang there in relief. Did have a walk, but ultimately, again, stranded that runner. Didn't punch out anybody. So a lot of contact. Pretty good stuff, though. Anthony Ianson makes his Double-A debut on Sunday night in a start for the Portland Sea Dogs. 4 innings, 1 run, walked 1, and punched out 4. Keep you updated there on his next start. Cade Anderson was just nails once again for the Arkansas Travelers. 5 2/3, 2 hits, a run, walked 1, punched out 9. He's 3-0. His ERA is 0.60.
Pretty good.
He's just awesome. Gage Jump start for the in AAA. Tough one. Worst one of the year, actually, for him. 4 2/3, 5 earned. Walked 5, punched out 8. But other than that, it's been a really, really solid year. And then lastly, John Harbaugh updated the status of OBJ and the Giants. Door's not closed. The goal right now is OBJ's out in Phoenix training. Get as ready as he can be, and they'll see where they're at when they get towards training camp. Possible reunion, though, still in the works. That's Tigers and Pros.
Presented by South Point Volkswagen, airline just north of Highland, southpointvw.com. You know where to find them, new and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Great, great, great dealer specials right now. How about $3,500 off 2026 Crossport? That's available right now. Oh, that's the vehicle I drive. The Atlas is the 3-row, 7-seater family SUV. The Crossport takes out the third row. Beautiful car with all the style, feel, performance of luxury. Great safety features without the cost. Manufactured right here in the US of A. Shop Atlas Crossport right now at southpointvw.com. You can shop by vehicle, by year, body style, make, price. It's all right there. Or model, price. It's all right there at southpointvw.com. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, as after further review, thanks for hanging out with us here. SportsCenter's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, we talk some SEC baseball with David DeLucci every week. That's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Supper Club closed today. They will be reopened tomorrow. Man, get you a reservation. I'm going to tell you what. If you have not yet tried Supper Club, it is time. Y'all, we're getting to that point in the season where it's graduation time. What are you going to do to celebrate your graduate? How about Supper Club? Get your reservations now. SupperClubBTR.com, SupperClubBTR.com. They got the private dining room available as well. Call ahead to see if you can reserve it. Awesome way to have sort of a private dining experience there at Supper Club. Amazing. Maybe you want one of the beautiful semicircle booths, tables in the middle of the dining room. Awesome spot, no matter where you're going to be, to have the best dining experience of your life. Oh, and one of the best meals you'll eat anywhere, whether it's steak, fish, the Chilean sea bass, the Ora King salmon. Try tonight. SupperClubBTR.com.